Welcome to the Heavy Pages podcast, a space for women struggling with an unwanted separation or divorce. I'm Josie, your host, a separation survival coach, creator of the From Devastated to Divorce program, a mother of two, and a survivor of my own unwanted separation and divorce. My mission is to help you avoid some of the pitfalls that extended my journey of growth and healing, and to provide you with tips and tools that will help get you to a place of acceptance and empowerment. Because sometimes the pages of life can be heavy, but you don't have to turn them alone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another, what is it? Journal entry episode. Yes, we're back at it again. Let's see what I could possibly have to say this week. And this is for Tuesday, January 18th. Okay, so I do not know, but I had a thought. First, I will start by saying that I hung out with Guy a lot today. Actually, I have been seeing or chatting with him a lot these past few days. And as always, I have been analyzing myself when I am with him. And I feel like I have stumbled across something. I like him as a friend. I'm not convinced that I love him as a man. I'm sure he hurt me very badly. But why? Well, maybe it was because I loved my family and he broke that apart. Because I was safe where I was in life and he messed that up. I was going to put happy there, but when I think about it, I know that I was not. I know that I was missing a lot in life and that I felt bad because of all Guy did and I did not do. So I know that. And I was so not doing anything for myself. I lived for my family, and when Guy trashed that, it hurt me because that was my life. So, okay, I was pissed and hurt and mad because we had a deal, to put it simply, and he reneged. So, that hurt, and I was scared as hell at first, so I was mad about that. Also, I do feel that I did love him at one point, and that it did not last upsets me. But I feel like I'm saying too much, too often, that I love him still. Maybe I do not want to admit that I don't, because then how can I be mad and blame him? Maybe I want to keep feeling sorry for myself. I don't know. Anyway, while I was hanging out with him, I would look at him and I would not feel love or loss. I am not sure what I feel. I know that what I feel when I am with the Egyptian is so different. I feel a passion with him that was missing with us. I feel a difference when we kiss than I do with Guy. It felt different. You know what it felt like? Like it was forced, like you are kissing a friend. Wow, it did feel like that this past time. I could not place it, but that's what it was. I miss him a lot, but as a friend. I do not miss him as my husband, not in the way of how he wakes up or how he eats or some of his complaining, stuff like that. And I wonder, does this mean something that I do not get? Were we meant to just be friends, but we forced ourselves into something else? Well, I know it hurts when he talks to me about other girls, even if I ask, but I think this is normal. Does not mean that I love him, just that he was mine for all of this time and we definitely shared life and I do not like the idea of someone else with him. But that does not stop me from seeing me in a life with someone else. If I loved him, as I sometimes think, could I do that? I will always say that I know I saved him from, well, God only knows what, and he needed me at the time, and God used me to save him. I feel good when I see it like that. Wow. Do I feel like crying now? I mean, my eyes are watering. I know that he had a very bad life, and really things got so much better for him when he moved here to be with me. I know he does not see it that way. I know that he feels like he got stuck and lost some of his youth, but still, I think that he would not have made it so far in life without what happened to him and us. Now I really do not see that my life got much better from knowing him, except for my beautiful son. He is the one thing in my life that is better, and Guy did give me him. So maybe that was God's plan. Maybe, who knows, if I had not met Guy, I would be mixed up with a very wrong man and could be dead, or have 5 kids, or something. So who knows? Maybe he saved me and I did not even know it. But what I am trying to say is that maybe I am making more out of this than it is. Maybe I am making myself feel worse and hurt more because I do not see what actually happened to us. I know I have said sometimes, why did we last so long? I got my son right away. Why did he not just leave then? And then I would still have my son. But you know what? He would not have been better. He would have been worse knowing he had a child and left him. And my son would have been worse because I would have been able to take care of us, but it may have happened with someone else being there when he first took a step or said his first words. I was able to be there for all of that, and being with Guy gave that to me. And that gave my son 8 years with his mom home when he got there from school and on his days off. Had Guy and I ended before that, we all would have lost out. Not just my son. Now my son is at an age where he can deal with me not being home right away, and he can stay at extended day and be fine. Now Guy can enjoy his life with enough money to do what he wants without the stress and without the depression. And as for me, there is no stopping me if I wanted something. I will get a job and I will have a nice place and I will enjoy my free time and I will see the world and I will love and be loved again, and I will make a decision on what I want when it comes to my health and my body. And when I do, there will be no stopping me. So as for Guy, I need to put a stop to everything but friendship, and I need to clear my mind of the feeling of ownership of him and even from anger towards him. What I got from him was good, and I am still alive and kicking. He did pretty good by us, and I am not going to keep bashing him because he decided to call it quits. I know that it really was for the best, and I am going to keep upbeat and positive perspective on this all from now on. I'm not going to get sad and upset when I read old love letters. I do know he meant it when he said it, and that it did not last does not make him or me bad people or losers, just human. I think I can live with that. Wow. That has to be the most adult, rational journal entry to date. What do you think? I mean, there was a lot of rational, healthy thinking in that letter. First of all, let's start off with, yes, I got along with Guy on a friend level very well. We had very similar political views, very similar life views, very similar morals. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but we were very similar in a lot of ways, and we got along well, and we could have fun together also. So there was a lot of positive about our relationship that probably could have continued on as a friendship, but there were a lot of problems in the marriage that just come from us being different in the way we were raised and what we wanted out of our personal lives. And, you can't help that. And yes, it makes perfect sense. It had to end when it ended. If it had ended earlier, we all would have lost out. We would have all been in different places in our lives and maybe not in as good places as we should be. And I will say that to this day, Guy gives me credit for getting him out of the situation that he was in and bringing him to a new state, to a new life, and to a world of opportunities that he would not have had he stayed where he was. And he still gives me props for that. And he tells our son that still. And I absolutely appreciate that he sees that and that he recognizes that. And honestly, I am glad that I was able to do that for him. In the beginning, that was my goal. I wanted to save him from the sad life that he was living, from not being loved, from being mistreated, from being alone. That was my goal. That was my goal in the beginning. And maybe it was not the smartest way to try and start building a relationship, but I actually, I succeeded in that goal. And then I had my beautiful son that I am absolutely happy and grateful that I had, even though he was not planned. But I was able to be his mother and stay with him and be home for him. I didn't have to send him to daycare. I didn't have to have someone else raise him. I was able to be with him for 8 amazing years. And by the time I had to go to work and he had to go to school, he was starting middle school or just about finishing elementary school. And I was still had a job where he didn't have to really stay an extended day. But then once middle school started, he did, but he was older and wiser and more independent. And there were a lot of blessings that came from my relationship with Guy. And I recognize that. And I know that he recognizes some of that too, even though if he didn't, it's fine. It doesn't affect my life or my future, but I am glad it's a bonus that he does recognize those things. My son, kids these days, he has a hard time acknowledging that he had a nice life, but I think that's because he did have a nice life. If he had a really bad life, he would have known it. So I think he had such a nice life that sometimes he doesn't recognize how bad it could have been, but that's okay. I still have hope that with more age and maturity, he will be able to reflect back and recognize that his parents did really well by him. And then myself. I was lucky. I am grateful that that I did get to have the house and the child and be a homemaker and all those things. So it worked out the way it was supposed to work out. And I did keep beating myself up or getting mad at him because he made a promise and he broke his promise. But I say this now that I know that I wasn't really happy. I was just living the life because this is the life I was dealt, and I wasn't absolutely miserable. But this letter confirms it. This was less than a year after our separation, and I'm recognizing and I'm being honest and saying I wasn't happy. I was living. I was doing what I was supposed to do, what I felt was my role, but it didn't mean that I was happy. And so now I have the opportunity to be happy. I have the opportunity to the world is my oyster. Is that how they say it? The sky's the limit. I can do whatever I set out to do. I am free, and I was free, and I did so many amazing things. I had so much control over my life that I never had before because I was living with, my parents, and they had rules for me, and I had curfews, and I wasn't allowed to date boys and all of this stuff. And then I had a husband, and you have the restraints of being in a marriage and, what you're supposed to do there. And then I'm free. I have my son, which of course I take care of. But when I didn't have my son on the weekends, I could do whatever the hell I want. If I wanted us to have breakfast for dinner, I would, and nobody could say anything about it. Of course, my son would agree. It was just an amazing freedom. It was an amazing time in my life. I don't quite know how amazing it is yet in this journal entry, but I'm getting the idea that I'm getting there and that the future is bright. The future is bright, and I'm so happy that I'm slowly getting there. I'm recognizing it, and I'm proud of myself. I'm happy about this journal entry. I'm happy about what I said. I'm happy about, it feels like maybe a little bit of closure. It feels like I'm giving Guy some props. I'm recognizing that we all are who we are and that there's nobody is the bad guy here. And I think that's a healthy place to be. In fact, that last line, I know that he meant it when he said it, speaking about saying that he loves me, and that it did not last, does not make him or me bad people or losers, just human. I mean, what else really needs to be said? That is definitely getting to a place of clarity and maybe even closure. Of course, like always, there's a whole bunch more journaling to go, but I really just think it could just be about how we live through this next phase in our life. But I really feel like I'm getting really close. If not, I have gotten to the closure part, and I gave it to myself. So I'm happy about that. All right, I'm going to stop for here on this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And I guess I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now. That's going to be it for this episode. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can always find me on Instagram at heavy_pages_podcast. And if you found this episode interesting, please consider clicking on that 5-star rating and following so you are notified when the next episode drops. As always, thank you for listening, and remember, Sometimes the pages of life can be heavy, but you don't have to turn them alone.